Hi guys, welcome back for another video. This is the part 2 of the video Feral Guide, and I'll now talk about the talents. Still, it's a Feral Druid guide, and this is part 2, so if you haven't watched part 1, I'll put it in the info below. I'll start at the top left and go over to right. Feral Swiftness. It increased the move speed in cat form by 30% and increased the dodge in both cat and bear form by 4%. Furor. It gives an 100% or 10 rage when you shapeshift into the form that it requires. Predatory Strikes. Ravage gives plus 50% crit chance on a target above 80% health. And the finish move, all your finish move, which means I can go in cat form and show you. Rip, Maim, Ferocious Bite, and a Savage Roar. It gives the buff Predatory Strike, and it does so you get a free instant nature spell. The more combo points you have, the more the bigger chance you gain for gaining the buff Predatory Strikes. If you have 5 combo points up and you have on the talents full, that means 2 pins in it, you have a 100% chance to gain the buff. Infected wounds, this is the first or second. The Shred, Ravage, Maul and Mangle. It gives an infected wound on enemy targets. It reduces enemies' move speed by 50% and their attack speed by 20%, and it lasts for 12 seconds. Fury Swipes is your the auto attack in cat and bear form gives 10% chance for a Fury Swipe that deals 310% weapon damage. If I had pinned the 3 in it, I would gain 15% chance to cause a Fury Swipe, but I only have 2 of 3 pins in it. Primal Fury. It gives 100% chance to gain 5 rage each time I crit in bear form. And each time I crit with a attack that grants 1 combo point, I have 100% chance to grant an extra combo point. So if I use Mangle on a player and I crit, Mangle applies 1 combo point, and a crit then applies an extra combo point. It's very useful for quick bursting in PvP. Feral Aggression. It increases the damage of Ferocious Bite by 10% and Fair Fire applies 3 stacks instead of 1 stack. Now down to the third line. King of the Jungle. Enrage in bear form. Increase the damage by 15% and Tiger's Fury restores 60 energy. Feral Charge. It teaches you the spell Feral Charge, which you can use in both bear and cat form. In bear form, the target gets immobilized in 4 seconds, and in cat form you leap behind the target and dazing him for 3 seconds. The cooldown of the spell in bear form is 15 seconds and in cat form 30 seconds. Stampede is one of the few in the feral tree that you can improve from 1 talent. And Stampede increase the melee haste after used in Fell Charge for Bear, and gives a free ravage that doesn't require stealth. So that is pretty good for an opener in PvP. Now for the fourth line. Leader of the pack, cat and bear form, and it gives the buff to increase critical strike chance by 5% to all friends in a 100-yard range. And remember, it must be a group, like Battleground, Raid, Brutal Impact. Brutal Impact, so Bash and Pounce gets increased stun duration by 1 second. Bash cooldown is reduced by 10 seconds, and Skull Bash cooldown is reduced by 50 seconds. And those who use Skull Bash on have a 10% increased mana cost on all spells for 10 seconds. So it's like a debuff. Nature's Instinct. It increases the healing done on you by up to 100% of your agility, and healing done to you up to 20% while in cat form. Remember, it must be you must be in cat form. Primal Madness. Tiger's Fury and Berserk also increase the total amount of energy by 20 while activated. Remember, if you have to use both, they don't stack, but you gain the extra damage, like it stacks the 30% extra damage. So you gain 60% extra damage. It's pretty useful. I show, if you watch that first video, that part 1, I show you when I use both Tiger's Fury, Berserk, and the trinkets. And Rage and Berserk instantly gives 12 Rage while activated. Over to Survival Instinct. Use all damage taken when you use by 50% and usable in cat and bear form. It's pretty useful since you have already this spell Barkskin that reduce all damage taken by 20%. So if you use both, you have a 70% reduced damage taken. Endless Carnage. It increases duration on Rake by additional 6 seconds, and Savage Roar and Pulverize by 8 seconds. Rend and Tear. Increase damage with Maul and Shred on bleeding targets with 20%. Ferocious Bites is increased by 25% if the targets have the infected wounds and have a bleed on it. That means if you have Rake Up or Rip and you use Ferocious Bite, you gain 25% extra damage. Berserk. Passive Lacerate have 50% plus 50% chance on refresh the cooldown on Mangle in bear form, and it makes instant, and it costs nothing. So it's a free use spell when you are is in bear form. When you activate it, Mangle in bear form hits up to 2 to 3 targets and have no cooldown. So you can spam it all the time. And it reduced the cost of all cat abilities by 50%, and it lasts for 15 seconds. If you use a Berserk, you cannot click on the of Tiger's Fury. If you use that, Tiger's Fury cannot be used. If you use Tiger's Fury first, you can use Berserk. Now over to the Restorations tree, where you have the spell, the talent, Natural Shapeshifter. It reduces the mana cost of all shapes by 20%. Heart of the Wild. It increases all intellect by 6%. A bear gets 6% extra stamina based on total stamina. A cat gets 10% extra attack power based on total attack power. Master Shapeshifter. It increased the effects in bear form with an increased physical damage by 4%, and cat form gets increased critical strike chance by 4%. Moonkin form and Tree of Life form is not anything we need to see on, since this is a feral PvP guide. Then I'm done with the talents. I'll just jump right over to the glyphs. The primal glyphs I have is Glyph of Mangle, and increase the damage of Mangle with 10%. Glyph of Rip, and increase the periodic damage of Rip by 50%. And last, Glyph of Berserk, and increase the duration of Berserk by 10 seconds. Major glyphs is Feral Charge. It reduces the cooldown of Feral Charge in cat form by 2 seconds, and the cooldown of Feral Charge to bear form by 1 second. Glyph of Ferocious Bite. It heals you for up to 1% of total health for each 10th energy you use. So when you use Mangle, that uses 35 energy, you gain 3% of your total health. So it's still useful in PvP. And the last at major is Glyph of Pounce. It increases the range of pounce by 3 yards. There's no extra damage on it. It's just that you doesn't need to stand under the target to use it. And the minor glyphs is Glyph of Aquatic Form. It increases swim speed while in aquatic form by 50%. Glyph of Unburned Rebirth. Rebirth spell no longer requires Regent. And Glyph of Mark of the Wild. Well, hope you enjoyed. Tune in for another video soon. Bye. Blue Starly